All right, we're back. We are Truth Be Told Monday edition. I'm Tony Sweet. We have Dean Ryan, Captain Ron in the house, where we believe an experience becomes truth. And we have lots to talk about because
we do.
We've been dealing so much with the election the last umpteen years.
That's right.
We haven't had a chance to catch up on what's going on in the news. And Captain Ron and I were saying, I think they did this
on purpose.
On purpose.
That's right.
A lot of stuff is
While
mergers
we're all sleeping,
and crazy stuff.
They is scary.
Well, the whole world was watching the election, as were we. You had to talk about it. We were forced to talk about it.
Right.
So we couldn't talk about anything else. So everything else kind of gets pushed back a page. Like, remember that congressman? Did he? What is it? Was it Levy that he killed, or he killed that
Chandra
girl?
Levy?
Chandra Levy.
Yeah.
He killed that girl, and remember
yeah.
it was like the day before 9/11 or whatever.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he got off the front page, and it was like the best thing for him.
What happens?
Same kind of thing.
We're a lucky guy.
And for the people that are joining us on Facebook Live, welcome. Periscope Live, ubnradio.com, and we really appreciate you joining us.
Oh, no, we really appreciate the audience and sticking with us as we do our best. And, please share these things because, as I was just telling Tony, but just in case so everyone knows, the algorithms on YouTube have changed by Google because of the kick-ass job the alternative media did this election season. So it's really kind of difficult and challenged now to get these videos out. So we appreciate all our hardcore fans.
And alternative media has really brought a lot of people back to real news, where even the, I guess, traditional news, their numbers were way down, except when it was talking about Trump. So
that was scary. That YouTube's changing their algorithm.
It's scary. Yeah, I mean, and we're just, we're flexing our First Amendment.
Anything
speech.
to suppress that is bad.
Right.
It's bad. So,
well, we have a lot to talk about. So, Captain Ron, you ready to take it over?
I'll tell you some more bad news. Okay, not only is that algorithm going on. So while we were all paying attention to looking over this way at the election, over here on the other side, these huge, giant corporations were all merging with each other.
Which is not good for us.
I think it's a horrible thing. I think I'm really against monopolies and these huge mergers. Listen to a couple of these.
All right.
First off, we got AT&T bought Time Warner.
I mean, talk about two huge.
I mean, these are
that's pretty big
freaking companies. $85 billion deal. $85 billion. That's amazing. So this phone company is now this media giant. Time Warner doesn't just own Time Warner, which is a production studio, of course, and they have their catalog of films, as we all know. Mm-hmm. They also own like CNN, TNT, HBO, Warner Brothers Films. I mean, that's a huge company right there.
I heard they even own Dairy Queen now.
Well, that I haven't heard, Dean.
Well, it's
a smaller story.
Okay, well, just want to add that. Just want to make sure you know.
It's a huge thing. So that you got this library now, and they have the ability to create new content because they have the studio, and you have the world's largest pay TV subscriber base, and the largest TV, mobile, and broadband distribution base.
And you have AT&T serving all the data and information of all the users on a silver platter to the NSA. It's just amazing how this is.
That too, it's scary. They have 315 million people in the United States on the mobile network on AT&T.
I'm not one.
300 and how many?
It says 315 million people in the United States.
So pretty much
have access to their mobile network. So that's pretty much everybody. Yeah, right.
Wait a minute. So every American citizen
has access. No, has access to it. So they could try to get them all. That's the audience, the potential that they could get. And now they have all this extra content and all this other things to sell them. So it's just like, selling to themselves again. They're going to create the product. They'll sell it on their mobile network. Right. They'll sell it on their cable network. They'll sell. I mean, it's just. And
they'll use the legislation and buddy-buddyship of their government patsies to squash competition.
But how do you think with, the new presidential candidate, now the president coming elect, do you think that's going to change? Because, I mean, he's talking about with the insurance, he's trying to create more of a competition. Well, when you have people like this merging, the competition gets smaller. So I'm wondering if the new president's going to...
Well, it's interesting that these deals all just went through. I wonder if they tried to do that before he got in, because maybe he was going to be anti-conglomerate. It doesn't feel like it would be, but maybe. Maybe that's part of it.
Well, they can't say that he's like Reagan, because Reagan's the one that created this in the first place.
He broke up all that. He did. He was for it. He wanted this.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. That's
I wasn't there during that time.
Whatever.
So AT&T can combine. They have the subscriptions both to cable and to your phone. So they have that plus all that advertising opportunity. So they've got two humongous revenue streams.
And don't they own like football fields and stadiums and that? I mean, AT&T this, AT&T cars. I mean, everything. It's just insane.
They got convention centers. They got all kinds of stuff.
I mean, yeah. Every time you watch the NFL, which is just doing killer in the ratings this year, it's just AT&T this and that.
I think that's the stadium in Dallas, the biggest one, right? It's AT&T Stadium.
He sold it. See, what's his name?
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones used the taxpayer money to make that $1 billion stadium, and then flipped it around and sold it. You talk about.
Well, I think he owns the stadium, but AT&T has the naming rights, I believe.
Or did he sell portions of it, like Netflix? Sold,
I don't know.
Like Netflix sold some shares to Mr. Soros.
That's like that used to be the Kodak Theater where the the Oscars are held, but now it's Dolby. So it's just they don't own the building; they just own
the naming rights.
Right.
So. All right. Well, thank you.
Anytime.
All right. See you guys later.
Point taken, though.
All right.
Very nice.
Another huge one. Now, obviously, the three of us know what Monsanto's is. If you don't know what Monsanto's is, go look this up. There's 1,000 documentaries on it.
I was going to say
Monsanto?
They may look it up and not really understand. Could someone
Monsanto?
Yeah,
give us a sentence on what that is.
Give us a Reader Digest.
Food Inc. is one of the documentaries. Neil Young has a documentary on GMOs. Monsanto's got a ton of. Go ahead, tell people what it is.
Well, Monsanto is a huge corporate agriculture business, right, Tony?
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to monopolize the farming industry, not only in the United States, but South America, India, throughout Europe. In fact, they're banned in places like Europe. But they've created the Monsanto seed, which is good for all year long, which is why there's this man-made drought they're controlling with geoengineering to create the drought in Northern California, forces the local farmers who got no water for their organic seeds, they have to purchase the Monsanto seed.
Right, you have, and then they get a patent on those seeds.
They have a patent.
And then when wind blows their seeds from their field onto your non-GMO field and one grows, they can sue you because now you're growing my patented product. It's a horrible, evil corporation in many people's minds.
It is, and the former head of Monsanto, Obama put as now the head of the FDA, and he also signed the Monsanto.
That guy worked for Monsanto's?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Obama signed the Monsanto Protection Act. So if you get you can't sue them. It's like the vaccine companies.
And they're in Monsanto, not only the Bayer thing, but I mean they own partial of Whole Foods. They own
Monsanto is Whole Foods.
They bought like 20-30% into Whole Foods.
Wow.
And you said the vaccines thing. Bayer, that's the announcement here, is that Bayer just bought Monsanto, or is trying to, for $66 billion.
Yeah, Monsanto is literally like the black water of the agriculture world.
It's amazing.
They just changed names, yeah.
Bayer's known obviously as a pharmaceutical company, but they have obviously prescription drugs. They have over-the-counter things like aspirin and regular drugs.
In Tainted Blood, they gave the Guatemalan children. Let's not forget that classic hit.
That's another one. They have animal medicines, but they also have a big division of selling seeds and pesticides, which I didn't know about.
Really?
But that's
I knew
another.
the pesticides, yeah.
Now they add the Monsanto's thing to this. That is a huge company now. This takeover obviously is a huge conglomerate of pharmaceuticals, health products, and pesticides. So they're trying to get it through the regulators around the globe because a lot of governments aren't going to want this huge conglomerate thing, as I do not either. If they do kill this transaction somehow and Bayer has to pull out of it, they still give Monsanto's $2 billion.
Oh, jeez.
So that's what they're risking, that this is going to go through. Now, you and I both know that this is going to go through because all of these giant companies with billions and billions of dollars get through. I mean, it's just like you always hear that, they're going to put up and then these $90 million billion deals.
Well, that's why they're called Monsanto.
Another couple tie-ups to this merger going through is that there's a $130 billion alliance also going on between Dow Chemical and DuPont, which is under investigation in Europe right now. And then in February, there's a giant state-owned company in China called Syngenta. It's a similar thing. They sell seeds and pesticides, and they're buying it from Burry Farms, which is a $43 billion deal over there. Man. Now, if the magnitude of these deals is so big, if these go through, which I can't imagine how they wouldn't. If they go through, these three companies would sell over 60% of all the seeds in the world for food.
Right.
60%.
That's called a monopoly.
And over 65% of pesticides worldwide would be owned by these three companies. Now, what do you guys think of this? That is dangerous.
I think it's completely ridiculous because
It's insane.
Yeah, because then even regulation can. That's when it gets to be so big you can't really regulate it because these people will own whoever's in control.
They'll actually the big corporations. They want more regulation because then they'll get the pass, like General Electric.
Right.
They'll get the exempt.
They'll squeeze out the rest of them. They won't be 66% of the pesticides. They'll have 96%.
Because they don't want a competition.
Right.
And this is what frustrates me about well-meaning people that say, yeah, we got to fight these corporations. They're monopolizing our food, X, Y, and Z, yet they're still getting their information from corporate media. And they don't want to talk about that and take that as gospel.
Which is back to the AT&T merger. Now, if they control all that going on, Time Warner, they can say, well, we don't want to have that story about Monsanto on any of our stuff.
And the reason I'm glad we're talking about this because we're so consumed with the election and all these other things and the Macy's Day, Thanksgiving parade. Some of us are. That
Dean gets very choked up during the parades.
I get a sentimental. I'm getting emotional now. But we have to talk about it because these affect us. I know, it's like I don't want to look into it and it's not sensationalized, but they affect us immediately. I mean, what we put in our food or our food and our body, some of us get sick immediately. And health is so important, especially with all the toxicity in this country. It has the highest cancer rate in the world.
And I think, like Monsanto and Bayer, it's not very glamorous. So a lot of times people really don't pay attention to it. They don't care because it's not Time Warner or that's
I
something
care,
that
but what
we
can
watch.
I do about it, Tony?
But that's what I'm saying. We don't really think about it. It's look at the election.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody says, "Oh, the establishment's never going to let somebody else win." Well,
guess what they did?
When people wake up, it can. I mean, you can make a difference. It's just...
Well, we could stop buying Frito-Lay. Frito-Lay is using Monsanto corn. They're using, I think it's called glyphosate chemical, the runoff.
Stop using Bayer then. And all those pharmaceutical... I mean, there's so many...
Well, here's something interesting,
brands.
Ron, is where they talking about all the Zika virus birth defects are happening.
That's right.
Zika virus has been around for 60 years. All these places where they say they're happening in Brazil and Miami. Well, guess who's spraying heavily in these areas? Monsanto. Don't call me a conspiracy theorist. Just call me a private...
But you are a conspiracy theorist.
I'm a PI.
Okay. I mean, that's your role. That's by definition. Okay, so here's another example of a monopoly that's already occurred. You guys wear glasses at all?
I used to.
I used to.
I had LASIK.
Oh, did you? Good. Okay. Well, I'm getting to the point where I now kind of need them when, like, if something's really small. I keep thinking I don't need glasses. I just put my font on 62 and everything's fine.
Perfect.
I just scroll it up four words at a page. But glasses are really freaking expensive. Here's why.
Even at Lens Crafters?
Even at Lens Crafters, and I'm glad you named that by name. Listen to this.
Boom.
Do you know that there is only one company called Luxottica that controls over 80% of all major brands on all glasses made, period?
Wow.
Really?
They literally own Prada, Chanel, D&G, Versace, Burberry.
All the glassware?
All the glasses.
Jesus.
They own all of these. Really? Ralph Lauren, Tiffany, Bulgari. There's Coach, DKNY, Ray-Ban, Oakley.
Jesus.
Name it. They own it. They own all of those brands. Not only do they own all those brands, but they also own the retail channels to sell those brands. Lens Crafters is owned by Luxottica. Pearl Vision, Sears Optical, which you would think would be Sears, is owned by Luxottica. Target Optical, Sunglass Hut, you know that free little thing in the store? Oliver Peoples, all of these things are owned by Luxottica.
What about Trader Joe's?
They are not owned by Luxottica,
okay.
but I appreciate you bringing that up.
All right, I just want to get a plug in there for them.
So, I mean, it's fascinating that all of these are owned. So no matter which glasses you wear, you're pretty much buying Luxottica glasses. The only way to avoid it is certain generics online and grocery stores, like those little no-name brands.
Right.
Those
like Kroger
are separate.
Right.
I'm curious. We should have somebody on because I want to find out either through a politician or somebody to figure out why they think these constant mergers are good for us and good for America, good for
Who
the world.
thinks this is good? I've always hated this. I think
I
it's
just
horrible.
don't understand why. Because like you said, when I was in college, and this was like 90, 89, 90.
Going back.
Yeah, a little ways. But my economics teacher said, he goes, one day there's going to be about 2 or 3 banks and about 4 or 5 companies. And we're like, whatever. And he goes, no, just mark my word. And
How many oil companies do we have right now, Tony? 3?
What, 3? Yeah.
Banks, there's really 3 giant banks that control 80% of it.
And so when I look back and think, that's when 26, 27 years, that's pretty quick. I mean, really, that's pretty quick to have.
That's a short time, yeah.
Another 10, 20 years. I mean, it's going to be.
100 years ago, it wasn't like this at all.
Oh, God, no.
No, I would say the past 15 years have been pretty horrible.
Right. It's
Like,
really scary.
No, as far as decades, I was thinking about this. If you think about like decades, they're pretty distinctive, like 60s, 70s, 80s. Like the 90s was like anti-80s, which had its own individuality and culture and ideas.
Right.
But since 9/11 and that decade that sucked, and then like, the past 8 years, now it's been like one big same. I couldn't tell you the difference.
Yep.
I mean, really.
I don't even like the fact that it's the same thing. Like, I think like, well, I'm going to go, I don't want Ray-Bans. I'm going to go get Oakleys or whatever.
It's going to be, yeah.
And you're paying the same asshole anyway. It's like in Vegas. Vegas used to have, all
They still
those were
make
separate
Oakleys?
casinos.
Oakleys are still made.
Oh, yeah, and they're owned by Luxottica. And here's what Luxottica did. Oakley tried to get into their store, LensCraft or Pearl Vision. Of course, Luxottica made the price so terrible that Oakley couldn't go in there. They wouldn't make any money. So their price plummeted, went way down in the stock market. Luxottica bought them up. Now they sell them everywhere again.
So that was a trick.
That was a trick. They buried them. Good luck getting into this industry.
Under market value company.
There you have it.
It's like in Vegas that the casinos used to all be different companies. Do you know that there are 3 companies that own over 80% of the casinos on the entire strip?
Really?
3 companies. So it's like it used to be this competition. They used to say play the machines by the door because the people walking by and they want you to go to their casino. Not there. They're like, go ahead, go across the street. We own that too. Go ahead. Yeah. Go way down the street. We own that too. They don't care because they own all these. And it sucks. And you used to feel like, well, I prefer this place to that. They're the same. And that sucks. I don't like it at all.
Well, I've heard that even about in the Indian reservations. They think the Native Americans own it. Nope.
Harrah's owns those.
Yep.
And guess who owns online poker? Harrods.
Yeah. It's
I was there in Vegas.
You can buy stock on it.
And I was there in Vegas in 2011 during the World Series of Poker. The day that Obama made online poker illegal.
Nice.
And made it illegal and then rewarded it to
Harris.
to Luxottica.
Luxottica,
Yeah.
right.
They even own that.
That company.
Oh,
That
Harris,
sounds
Harris.
like a Monsanto's place.
Yeah.
The CEO of Luxottica says that at least 500 million people have a pair of glasses that they've made. 500 million.
500 million.
Yep.
This is
This
something,
is from their mouth. They say this.
There's something to point out too. A lot of these big companies, whether it's media or agriculture, there's always a tie-in too. We should do a whole show on this. A tie-in to the military-industrial complex. Like there's some tie-in with defense weapons or stock or something.
It certainly feels the exact same way that
I think
does.
it
does.
I think Guitar Center is part of that too. But don't quote me on that. That's something I heard a while ago. But some things you wouldn't think are tied into the military-industrial complex.
It's gross.
But
Okay.
I love Guitar Center. I mean,
So now we got the look. So we know all the brands are owned by them. Then we know all the stores are owned
Yeah.
by them. But you believe that they even control a lot of the payment channels. They own the second largest vision insurer called iMed.
God, they have the whole market.
So
covered.
if your eyes go bad, you go to your insurance company. They write a check.
They're like,
to
sure.
themselves at LensCrafters, who buys glasses made by themselves. So you pay them right down the line, and they're just sitting there making the money.
it's like Nestle.
It's so gross, though. It's so gross because I don't think the vast majority of people realize that that's how it is.
Oh no,
I would have never known.
Well,
that.
that's what I'm
No.
saying. When it's nothing that's like Time Warner, we know.
We know because we all have that.
We
in our
watch
hand
it.
and-
We
right,
watch it every
right.
day, but we don't pay attention.
We're
to it.
desensitized.
We are. We're
Desensitized to corruption, violence, sex, and lowbrow everything. It's just we're desensitized.
And I'll give you an example. Back in the 70s when I was just a children, if you saw, you hardly ever saw anything on television that like being shot or dead body
violence.
Yeah. Now you just turn on the news and you're seeing like a head laying off to the side and somebody's report. We don't really
on the local. It's tough to sit through.
It's just you don't. We don't
someone's
even
shot. Someone's dead. I mean, no one's paying.
Look how quick people adapt and just take things as they are.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. So this is just moving that way. This is just the way corporations are. They just take.
Like if Charles Manson, the Manson family killed today, it would be a big deal for like 2 days maybe.
Yeah. Right. I think that's right off the page. Right.
It's like, all right, next.
Because back then, the whole city of Los Angeles was in terror. They thought, oh my God, they're going to break in. Now they'd be like, that's just.
That's what happens.
Right.
That's
what happens.
Yeah.
It's sad. Yeah, that is sad. We need to get back to. We need more classier, wholesome things, which isn't hard to do. I mean,
Truth be told.
Exactly. This is a wholesome family show. I've been saying that for years.
All right, try this one on. So a new report came out that makes a case that now there's a new big soda. Who thought of that? Like they're saying it's the new big tobacco is big soda. So you got Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Turns out that they did a study, and between 2011 and 2015, Coke and Pepsi together had sponsored or contributed money to a minimum of 96 national health organizations. So basically what it is these companies, like they gave money to the Diabetes Association. And
right.
This is so counterintuitive, it's hysterical.
Yeah.
But what they're trying to do is to kind of, you don't have to really get too excited about that report about this causing diabetes.
It's like a therapist being a bartender. For AA meetings.
Sugary drink consumption is a major health concern, and we've heard these different bills, like in San Francisco, they're trying to cut down on the size of these drinks and all that. Well, obviously Pepsi and Coke, that's not in their best interest. But they show strong links from sugar to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Meanwhile, Diabetes Association, Diabetes Research Foundation are all taking money from Coke and Pepsi, which is it smells bad.
They're using high fructose. It's like sugar on steroids.
That's right.
And they're getting subsidized by the corn industry.
Now, let's take it up a notch more. The study also showed that these two companies campaigned against at least 28 different health bills in that same 5-year period, which were aimed at lowering soda intake and to improve the American diet. Like I know in San Francisco they were trying to limit the size you could get at McDonald's, because now you can get a big gulp. It's like 64 ounces. Right. They were trying to limit that. Well, the money against that was from Coke and Pepsi, which this is like what you see in the cannabis laws that have gone through. When you see these campaigns against cannabis, it was often paid for from the alcohol companies who think they're going to lose business. It was often paid for by the pharmaceutical companies because people are using cannabis and not taking the opioid drugs. Right. And they're going to lose weight. So that's who's paying for these things. We talked about it on this show before. Also, remember when California had a thing a few years ago trying to get legalized gambling? More casinos were going to come into L.A. And there were these ads that were horrible, saying, gambling ruins families. Gambling destroys lives. Gambling is bad. Those were paid for by Caesars Entertainment.
They want people to go to Vegas.
They want you to go to Vegas to their casinos they've already spent $1 billion building.
Right.
They don't want to have to compete with the Indian casino land here.
Right.
That's maddening. So they're sending this opposite message of their thing. Same thing here. It's really kind of gross.
Well, and they're paying like the gambling, what is it called? The commissions here in California. Like if you play craps in California, you're not allowed to throw the dice. You have to use cards. It's so stupid.
Yeah, you can't roll dice.
You cannot roll dice.
Well, now what you do is you know that what they have is you roll the dice, and the number of the dice associates with the card, and then you flip over the card, and that's what you rolled.
It's like, give me a break. Are you kidding me?
Unreal.
Like, why the hell would I ever want to play craps ever again in this casino?
So it's pretty gross and scary that Big Soda, if you want, is putting money into these things. It's like,
Big Soda. Like, remember Big Red?
I do.
Shitty drink.
And they put it under the guise
Big
of...
Red was gum.
No, Big Red was a soda.
Oh, that's also soda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Come on, Tony.
Real sugary
Yeah.
red soda, but it's that they're putting it under the guise of corporate philanthropy. Like, look, we're helping the American Diabetes Association.
I've never heard
Really?
that before. Corporate philanthropy.
That's what they're doing, and they're saying that they're trying to ask these companies not to take money from them. Well, good luck with that, because who's going to give money to that? So
Wow.
pretty gross.
Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Republicans and Democrats.
This is a cheery show today,
Right.
isn't it? Isn't it happy and fun
Oh,
today?
yeah,
This
of
is all
course.
happy.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Here's another merger that just happened. Well, this started back in July. The size, this one's a huge one too. Verizon,
Huge.
$4.8 billion for Yahoo, which
That's
obviously we all know what. Yeah, right. They already own AOL. Now they bought Yahoo.
Verizon owns AOL?
Yep.
Okay.
And now they've acquired Yahoo. Well, they're acquiring. Again, it's one of these mergers. These giant corporations, these conglomerate things take years to go through. And so they offered $4.83 billion in cash in July. And as it started going through, 2 months later, now they might kill this deal.
Oh, really?
But not because of the feds or anything. That's all fine. The acquisition of Yahoo gives them another billion users. Unique. Each month they get 1 billion users hit Yahoo each month. That is a lot. So think about the advertising that Verizon can do with this tool. So it's a huge thing. Turns out, though, that 2 months after this happened, remember when Yahoo had that breach?
Right.
And somebody hacked them or whatever, and they got all the emails and all that came out.
Really?
Yeah, there's a massive data breach, which they stole, they say, between 500 million, which was reported.
Damn.
But they say now it's actually closer to 3 billion accounts.
I'm a little nervous right now.
That names, email addresses.
Do you have a Yahoo account?
Right.
I have.
I do.
I don't.
Phone numbers,
Oh, Jesus.
passwords, birthdays, and security questions are all stolen.
Great.
Up to 3 billion users. That's a lot
That's
of people.
A lot of that. I find that fascinating because AOL and Yahoo seems to be the lesser, because now it's all Gmail. You hear all Gmail.
Right, but everybody started with these two.
Right.
I had both those accounts.
I still have
I
an
still
AOL.
have both.
Yeah,
So do I.
I
I have
still
AOL
have an
and Yahoo. Now, of course, I have a Gmail as well, but I still have those other old accounts.
And
Yeah.
Hotmail.
Hotmail.
Remember Netscape?
Yeah, Netscape. That's
GeoCities?
long gone. So now after 2 months, this data breach happens. So now that makes everybody nervous. So that's a big thing that Verizon's saying maybe they might pull out of this. Then a new report just came out. There's a new allegation of government spying. A new report says that Yahoo let the U.S. government spy on their emails. This is the first time this ever
Really?
happened. I can't believe you're not all over this one, brother. It's right up your alley. They said that they've been hit so far with 23 different class action lawsuits over this hack.
Oh, I'm joining in.
It's the first case ever where a U.S. internet company agreed to government intelligence request by scanning all arrived messages. Now, they've done this before, like if they're looking for something, or it's like it's a small number of accounts in real time, like we're expecting this guy to, and they know who they're going, they could target, and they let this go on. It's like a security safety thing,
Right.
which nobody really has a problem with because it's targeted. We think Tony's doing something, so we check his.
Probably, yeah.
But this is checking all the users and go scanning all of their emails. That's very scary. What happened was they put on this, they don't know if it's the NSA or FBI or whatever, but they put on a custom software program onto Yahoo. It's called a rootkit or whatever, and it goes through and it makes hackers easy to access this, and it can scan all of the emails.
Well, I'm never using Yahoo again.
Well, they
I mean,
literally say online you should drop, if you have a Yahoo account, you should drop it now. The former chief information officer of Yahoo resigned, saying that this is.
I would too.
Well, like I know somebody that works at Yahoo. I have a cousin that's married to a major Yahoo guy. Total pompous asshole.
Well, there you go.
So it
what
makes
else do you
perfect
need other than
sense.
that? That's
yeah. And if he's watching, you're a total pompous asshole.
But that's scary, man.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Think what you did to the American people.
So I don't know if this deal is going to go through or not. If it does, it creates another huge conglomerate of even more things. You have Yahoo, you have AOL, Verizon. These are giant corporations with access to.
Maybe that's why they're only getting $4 billion out of it, because
Yahoo used to be worth like 200.
that's what I mean. So maybe that's why it's too much controversy around it.
Yahoo?
Yeah.
Yeah, they suck.
That is a scary situation, guys. That is. I mean, none of us knew this. No. Who knew that they're scanning your emails? That is a horrifying.
I had an
predicament.
inkling.
Now something happened to me the other day that I didn't like. I don't know if I talked about this already, but I was just like on the internet, researching stories for the show or whatever, and I typed in Southwest. Did I talk about this on the air already? Mm-hmm. So I just typed in the word Southwest. I was going to look something up about Southwest Airlines. I just typed in the word Southwest into Google, and boom, the top thing that came up was my flight information that I'm flying home for Christmas, and it had
what?
Yes, Google automatically scanned my Gmail, saw that I had a Southwest flight booked, and my name, my boarding number.
Invasion of privacy?
Is that was on my computer?
I know, but
cookies.
Still,
yeah. Well, they're watching.
Is that crazy?
They're watching you in real time. And this is why I tell people, stop using Google and use startpage.com. Use things with proxies.
I actually do use startpage.com.
You have to use
honestly.
proxies because it's so rampant. We're all getting hacked.
Startpage.com is an excellent thing. We should push that on this show.
Totally.
That's a great thing. It blocks all that kind of nonsense.
Well, it uses Google for you, and then your searches are not saved and then sent to the government. Also, it gives you the option of viewing a website without protection, and then it gives you the option of using a proxy. So these things don't happen because people are putting cookies on our phones, on our tabs, on our computers. It's a scary ordeal, and this country weirds me out. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to start sending my midget porn through what again?
Well, when I send nudes, I always use other people's bodies.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that's a good way to do it too.
Yeah.
But when we get down to 3 companies, who's going to stop them?
You can't when you get to that point.
We're already there.
Yeah.
I know. It's a rigged system.
Of these companies, we never had anything like this. 50 years ago, there was nothing even close to Time Warner, let alone AOL Time Warner, let alone Verizon and AT&T, and all of these things. It is frightening how big Google is and how many people. Facebook.
Well, I'm going to go back to the example I use often is my parents. My parents had a grocery store in a small town in Kansas. In the 70s, early 80s, the business was great. I mean, my dad was making quite a bit of money, and then 8 miles away, there was another town. They had a grocery store, another, 16 miles, whatever. Everybody had grocery stores. They did very well. Then when Reagan came in the office, he got rid of the monopoly rules, regulations. Then all of a sudden, that's when like big businesses started coming in. Walmart started showing up to every medium-sized town.
Who was on the legal counsel for Walmart?
I'm not sure.
Dean
Obama?
Ryan.
No, Hillary Clinton.
Oh, because Arkansas.
And she prevented Walmart from unionizing. Just want to let that know.
And that's another thing. You don't even know the name of these companies. Like we have Ralph's here, but they own Smart and Final, for example. Right. So you think I hate Ralph's. I'm going to go somewhere. It's the same company.
And for people that don't know, Ralph's is kind of a big grocery store in Southern California,
like
where
Piggly Wiggly, Dillon's, wherever.
Piggly Wiggly, isn't that Kroger?
Yeah, that's Kroger.
Kroger owns them.
And these are big places in Southern California where we allegedly might be right now.
But the point is my dad and almost every small town mom and pop grocery stores are gone now.
That's right.
Because the big businesses came in, offered
and same with the farmers
prices.
too, and I'm sure in that area.
Oh yeah, farmers now they're being paid to not farm.
It's all craziness.
So
I
bet there's four grocery stores in the country like that own the vast majority.
I'm sure.
It's remarkable.
Like I said, with even Whole Foods now, I've heard that they're, with Monsanto coming in, now they're possibly going up for sale, getting rid of all the executives, and then it makes you like, who are they selling it to? Why are they selling it? Yeah. So now there's another huge chain that we were supposedly to go and get our food that's not chemically treated and high fructose, anything added. So
right. So the point is, the days of being ignorant to all this need to end now, and we need to wake up and we need to fight the power.
Right, you got to pay attention to this stuff. This is serious ramifications from these things. Yeah. Now you're bringing up a thing. I thought Whole Foods' whole thing was that it's a lot of organic, a lot of natural, a lot of locally grown, that kind of thing. Monsanto's is the opposite of that. Genetically modified.
I'll look that up and see if I can figure it out.
How are they buying it? It's almost like they're going to infiltrate that and end it.
They were involved in a scandal, what was it, like a year or two ago, that they were marking up their prices and they had to pay all these people back?
Yeah, there was something about it wasn't really organic or something too. There
Whole
was something-
Foods should be
See right
called.
here?
Yeah.
Whole Foods
There
joins
it is.
Monsanto try to kill GMO labeling in America.
Oh, to kill GMO labeling. Why would Whole Foods
Why would
be
they?
for that?
Exactly.
Think about it. Just
Well, look,
like all this stuff, you just use common sense. I mean, come on.
Monsanto buys Whole Foods.
Oh well, it's from Snopes. Never mind.
Wow.
Fake
I mean,
news.
but I've heard this from
Fake
direct
news
from
site,
people
no.
actually from.
Well, Whole
I mean,
that
that should be their credo is to label everything
Whole,
what's on here.
Whole Foods should be called Shady Foods from now on.
Well, there you go.
And like
Yeah.
somebody in Periscope just says, the pesticide killing off the bees. Well, if
Good
without
point.
bees, we can't survive this planet.
And
that's
you
a
gotta-
good
you
point.
gotta-
That's a great point.
You got to think too. Some of these big companies like Shady Foods and Monsanto are probably the
Crooked Hillary.
probably Hillary are probably the culprits that contaminated Chipotle when they had the strain of bacteria and were making people sick because Chipotle were such innovative people as a fast food chain that said, everything we want to sell our people is not only going to be local, it's going to be GMO free and organic. And they said,
Great.
oh my God, we can't have that trend.
So now you're going to have these giant corporations that do that, and then they're going to own all the media companies and the internet outlets.
to not
So they're not going to
report
talk
on it.
about it. And
This
There you go.
is why centralized power is so scary. I mean, just look what Fidel did.
look at how the world has changed. Like we're talking about 50 years. There was none of these companies like this.
No.
Nothing like
No.
this.
I know.
It was like the big three automakers was a big thing,
Right.
and that's nothing like this.
No,
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised there's actually even auto. I mean, people they've bought
Well,
out, bought
right.
out.
Well, this is kind of why.
That's true too. There are no independent car companies.
This is kind of why Castro didn't want the American corporations in Cuba.
Are you pro Castro now?
Are you doing Jill Stein?
No, we don't know each other that well.
Well, Kaepernick over there. Are you pro Castro? What's the story?
Am I pro Castro?
You sounded like you're pro Castro.
yeah.
Really?
Who just died, by the way.
90
Yeah,
years.
That's what we're talking about.
Well, I think he died a year ago. But
Body-
anyways,
there's
no,
a body double.
I'm not pro Castro.
All right.
But however, he was. They attempted over 600 assassination attempts.
Oh yeah.
on
Listen,
him.
if we have time at the end, I want to talk about a few of those. Dean.
I'm just teasing the
Teasing the end of the
audience.
show.
I'm a teaser.
Teasing the
You're
nipple.
trying to keep people safe for the full hour.
I'm a teaser.
Listen to this. You guys use Airbnb? Anybody use Airbnb?
I have not. I've looked into it, but
I have.
I haven't used it.
I
I've
have.
used it. I've definitely used it. I've
It can
enjoyed
be
it.
fantastic,
And
actually.
I've actually made friends with people that have hosted me and wonderful people.
That's what they say. I've heard good stories of things like that, and it's a great, noble idea. Like
you
I
know-
think Uber's a
But
great
there
noble
are
idea.
good stories around. But the newspapers, they always focus on like that one horrible story of my Airbnb host was an axe murderer. Never use Airbnb. I'm like, give me a break.
And
I
the
could
same thing with
show you-
Uber. Uber's
Yeah,
fantastic,
like,
but then you
come
have that
on.
one case where the guy runs into a pole or
Right.
goes crazy, and there
That's
are those
ridiculous.
things. But I mean, I think Uber particularly is fantastic.
These are
I
great.
use it all the time.
They're great examples of how the free market could work.
Well, this is changing now in New York City, which is the #1 Airbnb market in the world, by
Absolutely.
the way.
Applaud them.
Well, before you get there, listen to this.
Get the confetti.
Governor Cuomo yesterday, or Friday, excuse
Good guy,
me.
very good guy for Airbnb. Continue.
Well, he declared war on Airbnb, actually.
Uh-oh.
He signed
That
one of the
son of a
toughest
bitch.
laws regulating the home sharing service, including very steep fines just for advertising that you have short-term rentals. The thing is, people don't. You got to think about it. Let's dig a little deeper. Let me just read a little bit of this, then we can talk about it. State law in New York already bans apartment dwellers from renting their entire unit for less than 30 days. So the new law says the first time you violate this or you run an ad, it's $1,000. Second offense is $5,000. Third offense is $7,500. If you put out an ad saying I'm renting this for less than 30 days. And this only applies to permanent residences and buildings with 3 or more units. So if you have a 1 or 2 family home, that's fine. Boarding houses, hostels, dormitories, all that kind of thing are fine. The short-term deals, they're saying that it hurts, number one, it hurts hotel businesses, which those are getting gobbled up. Everything's a Marriott. If you
Right.
stay whatever it is, it's probably a
and how
Marriott.
much per night?
Exactly.
300.
Exactly. And it also takes affordable rental units off the market because these people are like, well,
Why
instead of
should I?
running it to
Yeah.
Tony for $2,000 a month, I'll just run it for 2 weekends and make $2,500.
Yeah.
So that's a big problem.
Okay, here's my issue with it. First of all,
Tell me the issue.
The mayor, who's probably part of Pizzagate, hashtag Pizzagate, look that up. Do we really need more legislation? Shouldn't this just be up to the apartment managers and complex? Do we really need more bureaucracy trying to?
I think
mandate
that's
things?
a great idea.
I don't think we do. I think the hotel lobbyists are suffering so much. The hotels, because they're so damn expensive,
Right?
that they're like, okay, we got to squeeze any sort of competition. I'm against it. If you own an apartment, you don't want that. You have every right to say, no, I don't want this in my apartment. Because as you
Right,
said,
but people do it anyway.
well, then that's their job to be.
Well, that's true.
That's not my problem.
But if you rent an apartment and you think, like I have an apartment here in L.A., if I was living there, and I am living there, and my neighbor across the hall suddenly is doing an Airbnb thing, and I've got different people with the code to get into my gate, into my door, in and out all the time. I don't want that.
That would make me nervous to let strangers.
And I don't think about me. I think my mother. Let's say my mother was living where I live. Now she's got strangers in and out of the house all the time who have the gate code to come in the gate, have the door code.
Because what you're saying is right now with Airbnb, do the people that actually have the location have to be vetted, or can you just, because you can't vet the people that are renting it, so you don't know if they're crazy axe murderers.
Right, when we sign up for the apartment, there's 12 units in my apartment. I had to fill out a whole application, qualify, put down a deposit. I have some financial interest in not blowing the place up.
Right.
Some jackass clicks online and shows up from whatever country they're from,
right. He's like,
or whatever city. I don't care. I'm only going to be here for 3 days.
Right.
And if we want to have a party till 4 a.m. while we're in L.A., we're going to. I don't want that.
But again, I don't think we need more laws on the books.
Well, how do you stop that? I don't want.
It's up to the managers of the apartments. I mean,
are we
going to make a law?
Yes.
Are we going to make a law for no people that party a lot? They can only party every third weekend of a month.
Well, here's what they're doing in New York. Some of these are like 6 and 8 unit buildings. What the landlords are doing, they've rented 2 or 3 of them,
and then
to 12 years, and the other 3. It's like running a hotel.
Well, here's my thing though. If you own it, I don't, and if they want to do it, then I get it.
Because if you sign that lease, you better tell me that you're going to be. By the way, you're moving into a hotel right now.
Right.
But they didn't sign up for that.
Right. But if it's people that are, it's their apartment that they're doing it, and they don't own it, then I don't think they should be able to do that.
Well, that's
another
thing.
I can't do it.
That's right, because you're not allowed to sublease or whatever without written approval. But they're doing that. That's the other thing that's going on. The owners, like you were saying, they don't even know. Because you're doing that, and then you're going off on vacation somewhere else. Mm-hmm. That sucks.
Look,
I do see the other side of it.
Look, some of these owners don't even know the elevator's not even working anymore. I mean, it's just they're called
these conglomerates own 50 of these buildings.
Right, there you go.
They don't know what
it goes
doing.
back to hashtag conglomerate.
There's some of these tenants are under different names are renting 3 apartments in the same thing, and then they basically are running their own little hotel business. And that is kind of shitty. And now you have this unregulated, hotel basically operating. It says that the hotel industry, landlords, and people who are trying to enter the market, because you can't get those low-income places anymore to rent because they're just renting them out to Airbnb because they can make more money running it on a week-to-week basis than they can running it for the year. So New York is losing the low end of housing.
Well, I think New York's losing business, period. I mean, it's the highest tax city in the country. And, I mean, New York's like it's like the Red Scare. It's like the hammer and sickle communist safe haven. So
anyway, Airbnb's fighting New York State and city about trying to protect. They're saying that, we also want to protect middle-class their argument.
Oh, yeah.
Is that they want to protect middle-class families who depend on the home sharing for a little extra money.
They want to protect their paycheck.
Exactly.
If you own your house, like you're saying, so if you own a big house and you want to rent out a room downstairs, who gives a shit? That's your business. Or if you own a house and you want to go on vacation for
the whole house.
Rent the whole house. God bless you.
No, you're right. I mean, Tony loves to rent out his basement at his house.
I do. Go ahead. Call him.
I don't know why.
Give out the cell number on the air.
So let me just tell you. He has a wonderful basement. Haven't been, but I know some people that went. I've never seen it.
They say you go down, you never come back. Right?
That's what I'm hearing.
There's a candle in the corner.
The game.
But it's a 10-unit building that could be troublesome if suddenly it's like a hotel. That does suck. I do really see that argument.
Yeah, like I said, because you don't know who these people are. You just know they give you a credit card or money.
They're in town for 3 days.
Captain Run, I see the argument too. I'm just saying I don't want any more laws on the books. There's already things there to prevent it with the managers. If people got a problem with the managers not doing their job, then just get another apartment.
Call Dean Ryan. He'll come out and straighten them
The
out.
problem with getting another apartment, you can't in New York. It's hard to find them. People are waiting
And now
for
it's
years.
even harder to find because what I'm saying
New York,
is all
New York
these
kinda
low-end
sucks,
ones,
Yeah.
they're using them for Airbnb because they can make more money. Because there's a price point where it
Because
becomes...
here you could do it.
I'm just saying, then they should put price fixing on the hotel rooms in New York. It's insane.
That would be great.
I mean, if they want to perform, let's do more communism then. Do more price fixing on the hotels. If you want more people to come to New York to check it out, not everyone can afford $350 a night. I mean, that's insane. That's like half a paycheck for some people.
I completely concur.
So there you go. I hate it.
All right, a couple of stories I think we started to talk about, but then we got caught up in the election, was this Wells Fargo thing. We know how this nonsense happened at Wells Fargo. These guys pulled the scam. They opened up over 2 million fake accounts, started generating all those fees and whatever, and now they're in trouble.
I didn't know.
Isn't that crazy? They blamed
Who, Wells Fargo did?
Yeah. They said that the fraud was some lower-level employees doing this on their own.
Oh, really?
Which we've covered this on the show before. Really?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're talking about Wells Fargo, the same people that are doing the money laundering to the cartels in Mexico.
And this guy walked away with how many?
2 guys. The CEO walked away with $125 million.
Jesus Christ.
And then the lady that was in charge of these opening new accounts things, who's behind that supposedly, $130 million.
Wow.
You see, they go into it knowing, okay, we're probably going to get caught, but our friend's the DA, so they'll just slap us with like a $3 million fine. We're making 125, so we walk away with 122. All right, I'm in.
Right, so the individuals do great, and the corporations themselves do fine, because they're going to get a $100 million fine for this, but they made $500 million.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's like, who cares?
Yeah, and Wachovia got caught, and Wells Fargo got caught. Was it Wachovia with the money laundering to the cartels? And they made billions of dollars, and they got slapped with a $400 million.
And they wrote a check, and they went here. Whatever.
They said, here's your tax money back. Go put in your pipe and smoke it.
But then that way everybody looks like they won. See, we showed them. We slapped them with $400 million.
Exactly.
But they lost, but it cost them, they made billions. So now what's going on is Wells Fargo is trying to keep this out of the courts now because they don't want to keep, obviously they've had bad publicity about this. Most of us have heard about this. Mm-hmm. So what they're saying is that when you signed up to open your account, because all of these 2 million people, almost all of them, were already customers of the bank. And when you sign up for an account, they give you these 10 pages of micro-sized things. Right. Well, in there it says if you have a disagreement with them, it has to go to private arbitration, not into public court. So they're saying that all these cases are coming out to suing them, and they're saying that they have to settle this.
It sounds like
closed doors.
It sounds like the vaccine courts when you have vaccine injuries to your kid and no one believes you, and because I haven't heard about it in the news. Well, there's secret courts for vaccines, the vaccine courts,
which is not a public record. See, this is a public record.
Exactly.
Big companies like Wells Fargo do not want this to come up and be in court documents.
So Wells Fargo thinks that they're like the Vatican of the banking system. We can just have our own rules and have our own courts. Well, you're not. Neither is Chase. And Jamie Dimon, the head of J.P. Morgan Chase, he should be hung by a tree.
There was a class action lawsuit in Northern California that already ruled that arbitration agreements can be enforced. They were trying to take it to court in Northern California, and a judge said, nope, that's private arbitration. You guys sign this. Now, who reads that thing? I don't know. But
don't look at me.
So they say checking accounts at Wells Fargo have fallen 44% since a year early. Now, but the thing is, we don't know. Is that because
fake accounts
people aren't going there, or because they're not signing up the fake accounts anymore?
Right,
It's like,
I think it's both.
I say it's probably a combination.
I still have an account there just because we have.
Really? How much money is in it?
Let's give the account number out, folks.
$10.
Yeah, no, 10, 15. No, but they're very, very, very overly nice right now.
Oh, really?
Oh,
like it's noticeable.
Really?
Oh,
I bet there's probably something that told them that
you walk
really
in,
need
they're like,
to...
hey, come on in.
Please come in.
Yeah.
Please come in.
There might be like $100 signups when you sign up for a new account.
Yeah.
They didn't give me one, but
I'm going to find out today.
right.
I'm going to go open a Wells
I have
Fargo
$1.
account. Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Get the 300.
And you haven't used your account in how long? Or are you still using?
Oh no, it's our business account. So
okay. I didn't know. Okay. Well, don't tell me how much is in it.
Oh no, that's why I wouldn't tell you. But anyway, but no, they are. I just noticed increase of being very.
That's
nice.
interesting. That's interesting.
Nice.
It's probably a national thing. That's really
like,
interesting.
You better greet these people.
You know what I've noticed too, and you're going to see this trend is when you open business accounts. I won't say what bank. One of the questions they ask you now is, does your business get involved with cryptocurrency?
Seriously?
Yep.
What the hell is cryptocurrency? Is
that
like
Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, yeah.
Bitcoin. That's a good one, Ron. Bitcoin and
well, not everybody knows what that is, so I want you to.
Well, I know you got to play the heel.
I'm throwing you a volleyball there, so you could
slam dunk. No, but it's one of the questions they ask because it's secretly, it's going somewhere.
Right.
No, they don't want any competition.
Right.
And that's why you see a lot of pump and dumps with the big banks buying a lot into silver. Everyone thinks, oh, silver's up, and then they pull out. Just to see, they try to get rid of the confidence in cryptocurrencies like they did with Bitcoin, pump and dump in Bitcoin and pump and dumps in precious metals.
And they have enough capital to do that.
Yeah, of course.
It's disgusting.
It is. I hate it.
All of this is so gross.
I'm so
I feel like I'm reading like a...
Obituary?
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of...
So how's that?
Because we have about 5 minutes left.
All right, well then let's just go right to that then.
Yeah, let's
obviously,
go to the obituary.
Your brother Fidel Castro went down last week, and
allegedly,
and they were talking about some of the different bizarre. Would you say 600 attempts on his life? They tried to
over 600 that we know about. Yes.
Over 600 that we know of.
Yes.
Well, 7 of the most bizarre attempts are right here. I'm going to read through a couple of them for you. One is the classic exploding guitar, not guitar. That's what you were saying earlier.
Cigar. Yeah, that's a classic. Groucho Marx started that one, I think. Yeah.
The CIA actually tried to slip him a poison cigar.
They do have a sense of humor at the CIA.
That is hysterical.
They're like, watch this one.
Yeah. And
then there was a contaminated diving suit that they knew someone that dove with him, and they tried to get him to wear this diving suit that was contaminated that was going to give him this fungus. It was like a chemical warfare. And he was going to get the skin disorder and all this.
I think I was in that one.
Could have been.
Yeah, I was at Cabo San Lucas, and that one happened. Yeah, you remember that? I told you about that.
You
gave me the suit.
You wasn't at Hooker Barbie? I don't know.
All right, continue.
There's the pen. There's only a couple more that are worth it.
Line.
It's the hypodermic needle concealed within a pen, where they gave him a pen to sign something, and they was hoping he was going to.
And the squirting flower, as we mentioned off air.
All of this is hysterical. That this is really.
They even Tony. I heard they tried to drop an anvil on him once, and it just missed him by a hair. It was incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, this is the big thing making the rounds that's gone viral is Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada. Allegedly, his mother had an affair with Fidel Castro. They're saying that Fidel Castro's illegitimate son is Justin Trudeau. And if you look at the photos, uncanny.
Really?
Same nose, same eyes. It's amazing.
You think you could DNA that easily, right?
That's what I heard. I heard Justin Trudeau is the son of Fidel Castro.
Wow.
That's what I'm hearing.
The last one I got for you here, Dean, is the psychedelic speech. When Castro was giving a speech in 1960, they tried to sabotage it by spraying his broadcasting studio with a chemical that would make him suffer hallucinations like just like an LSD.
Was it Aquanet? This was in the 80s.
Supposedly it was some sort of a LSD-based chemical.
Oh, Febreze.
And they wanted him to just ramble on and nonsense, and hopefully he would get sick and all this. And
God.
Craziness.
I think it's like James Bond.
These are supposed to be real things.
Can you imagine the movie title is 600 attempts?
You could.
There you go.
I heard they threw him in a tank full of sharks with laser beams on their guts, and he survived
Freaking
somehow.
laser beams.
He survived it. It's amazing. Well, that is sad. I mean, you know what? Say what you want about Castro. Say what you want about Cuba. It's if somebody was sabotaging our country, who knows? You know what I mean? I mean, they should have been doing business with Cuba. 50 years embargo. It's going to put your country in the S-hole. But I was the first person, to my knowledge.
Not one of the first, the first.
Yeah, no, I had to rethink it. The first person to report on all the refugees fleeing Cuba, going through Panama and Costa Rica, Nicaragua, because Obama made it illegal to get to Miami by raft. He said, however, if you walk here, That's why the borders are open. We give you citizenship. I was the first person that I was for Natural News. You can look that up.
It's all gross and disgusting. We need some happy news. And in women's volleyball,
Oh, there we go.
I was just
5-4.
What
The
about
women's
volleyball?
topless volleyball.
Right, better yet. Tony taking it up a notch. We need some happy news on
Well, the
this,
happy
man.
news is alternative media we're growing by the numbers. Although the algorithms are trying to stop us, we need the support of our audience to uplift us, keep us in the game. Comment if there's something you want us to cover, something you want us to talk about.
Right.
Let us know. I mean, we try to do uplifting news. Sometimes it doesn't get the numbers. People want the death, destruction, gloom, and doom, which
It is funny.
which
It
I
is
love.
funny
I mean,
that, you give them like the foo-foo, everything's going to be all right. You get like
They-
two.
and
Not
then-
interested. Right.
Yeah, they want death metal, not the rock ballads.
Right.
So I get it, and but help us produce this show because we give it our best every week.
Help us help you.
I need help. That's what I need. I need intervention. But
We didn't
so,
want to say that.
but again, we're so appreciative of the people that watch the show and share it.
Absolutely.
We do our best to get this information out and cover all spectrums of news.
Amen, brother. Well, we thank you guys for tuning in. Captain Ron, amazing job today.
Thank you, brother.
Dean, always a pleasure.
Yeah, I did it right.
Yeah. We'll see you next Monday right here on Truth Be Told, the Monday edition right here every Monday at 4 o'clock. Watch us on Periscope, or YouTube,
iTunes,
iHeart, what all these other
Yahoo.
places.
And our
Facebook
sister
Live.
show on Fridays.
That's right. And Eddie, Connor, and myself this Friday. So make sure you guys tune in for that too. Until then, we're out. Bye.